purpose of tonight is just to go through the things that need to be done from your end as a school coordinator for this, for the netball season. I have sent out some information already to everybody. Oh, by the way, I should introduce myself. If you don't know who I am, I'm Teresa from Netball North Harbour. I've been doing the primary space for quite a few years now, so I think I know everything, but not guaranteed. I have sent out some information already on the fees, so you should already have that and some dates and stuff as well. But we'll just go through a few things so that everyone's on the same page. And if you have any questions, we can, please feel free to ask them during the call, and then we can hopefully answer those for you. But what I'm going to show you is the place on our website where you're going to find all the information. We do this every year. If I can just share my screen, and I'm going to share this page, which is our Netball North Harbour website. And there's this area over here called Registrations 2023, and this area, all these pages pretty much something that you can use and should be aware of. This first one here is this Primary Coordinator 2023 information is the page we've set up for you, where we will be putting all our information for the year, so you just got one-stop shop to go to find anything you need. So on this page, you can see I've got the Zoom meeting for tonight. What I will do is do a recording of this, and I will put it up on this page as well, so you can refer back to if you need to. But basically, and this is what we're going to go through, all the competitions we offer, the important dates that you need to know about for the year, some of the other information evenings that we have coming up, not till about April, and how the composition of the teams work and what is the best way to get your teams together. Some of the rules around primary, because we have a few exceptions for our younger players, and also the costs. So here's all the costs on this page as well. So if you ever need to refer to them in terms of the fees that you need to send out to parents or whatever. Time request form, some information about the umpires, and also I have a form for school camps and productions coming up so that we can make sure that your teams aren't involved when those sorts of things happen. So basically at Netball North Harbour, we're still offering quite a few different competitions. We still have our what we call A and Z Future Ferns, which are our year 1 to year 3 teams. They are the modified game of netball. So we've got the year 1 and 2s play a 4-a-side game, and the year 3s play a 5-a-side game. Year 4 at Netball North Harbour, and for the first time this year, Hibiscus Coast at Edith Hopper Park, year 4s will be playing 7-a-side game, and so do the year 5s and the year 6s. The year 4 and 5s play a game where we rotate the positions around the court, and we've done this for many years, and it seems to work. The parents don't like it. They find it a bit frustrating, but there are reasons why we do that, and that is one of them is that kids aren't put into positions at such an early age. Like if they are showing some shooting technique, that they are stuck in a shooting role at such a young age, because with the rotations, every player has to shoot. And then year 6 is the 7-a-side, and they pretty much play the adult game. All the rules are the same. They play in the higher hoops and have the bigger balls, and there's no rotations. So from year 6 upwards, they pretty much play the standard game of netball. So ANZ Future Ferns, we're offering it on a Monday night at Netball North Harbour, and we're just trying to figure out whether we stick with Glenfield, because Glenfield has not, this is at Glenfield College, we've struggled to get teams there over the last few years. It was open for year 1 to year 6, but a lot of the schools in that area felt that they wanted to play at Northcote or Westlake, which is absolutely fine for those older age group. And we've only had a year 1 to 3 program at Glenfield for the last couple of years, and that has been struggling. a bit because parents and their commitment doesn't seem to be great. They sort of don't rock up some weekdays, I mean some Saturdays, and then they do, and it's, you know, a struggle to get the teams together. So one of my questions to all of you on the Zoom call tonight, and you don't have to answer it straight away, but you might want to put it on the chat or you can email me, is would you support a year 1 to 3 program at Glenfield College if we were still to run that? Typically the schools we've had involved in that are the schools around that area. So, and that's on a Saturday morning at Glenfield. So we've sort of, you know, put out the idea that we could do a 6-week block. So it could be 2 6-week blocks of year 1 to 3. But we'd love to get your feedback on that, please, because it is a lot of work running something like that, and if it's not well supported, it's hard work. So yeah, so your feedback on that would be really appreciated. Like I say, drop me an email, Teresa without an H, at netballnorthharbour.co.nz, or just put something on the chat on here tonight, and that would be awesome. So that's the ANZ Future Ferns Monday night at the Northcote courts. The year 1 and 2s play inside, so when it's wet and miserable, it's quite nice for them, and the year 3s play outside. And then at Glenfield College, if we go ahead with it on a Saturday morning. We have our year 4 teams play on a Monday night at Netball North Harbour at Northcote, and up at Hibiscus Coast the year 4 teams would play on a Thursday along with the year 3. So at Hibiscus Coast we offer a year 3 program up there, which is the modified game of 5-a-side, and the year 4s would play the 7-a-side, and they both play on a Thursday at Hibiscus Coast. The year 5 and 6s at Netball North Harbour at Northcote play on Wednesday, and the year 5 and 6s at Hibiscus Coast play on Wednesday also. And then the other competition we have is a Saturday option for year 4 to 6 teams only. We can't run the modified game at and it's at Westlake Girls High School, and that's on a Saturday morning, and that's in their undercover court area, which is quite a nice area when it's wet and miserable, a bit noisy, but yeah, the kids love it there too, and it's a much more sort of relaxed competition as opposed to Northcote, especially for those older age group teams. They tend to be a bit more competitive in the year 6 grade, particularly, and the year 5s. But those are the options. And schools, if you wanted to play a team on a Wednesday night at Northcote, as well as play on a Saturday, you can do that because they are 2 separate competitions. We've had schools in the past where they've had some kids play on a Wednesday and then play in another team, like it's not the same team, but they can play in either competition. And the junior netties at Westlake, we also have opened it up to teams who aren't involved with the school when it's been a group of parents who are very enthusiastic, and they can put a team together of a mixed school, sort of like a club team effectively. But we've only had a few of those come through Westlake over the years. Hibiscus Coast, we also do a program for year 1 and 2. But that is individually. It's not registered through the school. It's parents registering their children individually to take part in that program. We've been running it on a Saturday, but we're also looking at running that maybe on a Tuesday afternoon after school, because we've had feedback from parents that they would like their weekends a bit freer. So we're looking at running that on a Tuesday afternoon and probably in 2 6-week blocks as well. So teachers, school coordinators at Hibiscus Coast, you do not need to worry about the year 1 and 2 program, except for maybe just passing on the information to your netball community when I get that information ready to send out. So those are the options for primary school netball. The composition of the teams, now this is where it's important for the schools now. Your job now pretty much is sending out the information to the parents and then trying to work out how many kids you've got to play netball and how many teams you will enter into whatever competition that you want to play As I said, modified game for year 1 and 2 and the year 3s. So it's a 4-a-side game for year 1 and 2s, and we put a maximum number which we recommend. The reason we recommend these maximum numbers for each team is this way the kids get the time on court. If you make the teams too big, it's very hard for the kids to actually get that playing time. So year 1 and 2, we say a maximum of about 6 kids in each team. And for the year 3s, maximum of about 7. So that's sort of 2 on the sideline and allows for anyone being sick. Hopefully COVID won't be an issue this year. Last year we had lots of issues with COVID at the beginning of the season, but things seem to have settled down with that now. For the year 4 and 5 teams, because they do the rotations, we say a maximum of 10, but ideally you want to keep them around 8 or 9 children per team if you can. Reason being that even 10 is quite a big number to try and get them to rotate around the court quite evenly and fairly. And I'll tell you why in a minute, because we do have some rules around how long a kid needs to spend on court. And the year 6s, again, a maximum of 10 in a team is the ideal number. It, again, just allows for those kids to get on court when they need to. I know it's hard for some schools to meet those numbers. So, you know, like 14 is not good. That's almost 2 teams. So you're best off having, if you've got that many kids, that's 2 teams and you've got no subs. But what you can do is you can put a request into me asking that those 2 teams don't play at the same time, and then they can pull from each other depending on the strength of the teams. So, yeah, because we've got some rules around who you can borrow players from, but we tend to be a little bit more lax at primary because we know that the numbers aren't there for a lot of schools. So, but if when you're pulling your numbers together, yeah, it'd be really good if you can try and keep within that maximum or less. Ideally 8 or 9 on a 7-a-side team is really good to work with and allows for injuries and illness and all that sort of thing. So some of the rules that we do have around these kids is every child has to play at least half a game on court. That's to stop the issue, because the older kids from year 4 and up, they play 10-minute quarters, and no child or parent wants to travel down there and watch their child play for 10 minutes and that's it. So we have a rule that, yeah, that's at least half a game on court each week, and then over the 14 weeks or 12 weeks that the kids play, they get that fair time on court. So the strongest players aren't always on the court, and the ones who aren't quite so strong are having all the half games. So we kind of monitor all of that, but that's one of the rules that we're quite a bit of a stickler on. You can have boys can play netball. That is absolutely fine. What we have some rules around the fact that you can only have 3 boys on court at once. So if you've got 4 boys registered in the team, that's all great, but only 3 will be able to take the court at any one time. And then we have some rules about them not playing in the goal circle, but you don't need to worry about that. But boys definitely can play. Now, combination age teams are allowed. So if you have got not enough year 4s and you've got too many year 5s, you can enter a year 4/5 team. That is absolutely fine. We have no problems with that. The only thing is that the team would play in the higher age group competition. So the competition, you know, like year 4, 5 or 6. So if it's a year 4, 5 team, they play in the year 5 competition. 5, 6 team, they play in the year 6 competition. We do take exceptions. We don't really like the older kids playing down. It causes all sorts of hassles when parents find out about older kids on the court and stuff. But if you have one year 6 child who's new to netball, has never played before, we're quite happy for them to play in a year 5 team. We just need to know about it. You just need to let us know and say, is this okay, you know, for this child, you know, because we'll ask you questions like how long, you know, have they played before? Are they a big kid? Are they, you know, they're going to make a difference on the court? But just don't assume that it's okay. Just send us a quick email and say, this is what I've got, and I can't put a full team together. I've got 4 year 4s, 3 year 5s, and 1 year 6. And so what I would probably say is put that team in year 5, and that year 6 will have to play in the year 5 grade. So we want the kids to play and get on the court. We don't want them to be disadvantaged, but we just need to know about it. So if there's any issues that rise up during the season, someone finds out that there's a year 6 kid and a year 5 team, we get issues and problems. So just so we know what's going on. Now, if you have a strong year 3 team who have been playing netball for a while, and you think, that they're too strong for the modified 5-a-side game, they can enter the year 4 grade. That we have no problem with that at all. They'll just be playing the 7-a-side game and doing the rotation. So if you think they're up to that, that's okay. And you can have year 3s playing a year 4 team as a combination team. That's fine as well, if you think the year 3s can cope with it. Otherwise, yeah, just stick them in the year 3 modified game where there's less rules and it's more about just passing the ball back and forth. So like I say, if your numbers are tight and they don't stack up, yeah, just drop me an email and we can see what we can do to help you out in that space. Any questions about that? No? You probably don't know how many kids you've got yet. And there's the costs down the bottom on that page as well. So we do have things like time requests, which we only do for the year 4, 5 and 6 teams. We don't do them for the modified game, and we don't really do them on a Saturday either. So time requests are where you might have a coach who is coaching 2 teams and they can't play at the same time because she can't coach at the same time. The time requests have to come through the school coordinator. They can't come from a parent, and they have to be for netball reasons only, such as a coach coaching 2 teams or an umpire. You've got an umpire who is coaching 3 of your teams and they can't play at the same time, so she can umpire them. We don't allow them because kids have got ballet or they've got soccer or they've got other commitments or parents are working. I know it's hard to find coaches and things like that, but I can't give a time request to a parent because they can't get to the courts at 4 o'clock. If I did that for one, I'd have to do it for everybody, and it just gets too hard. So unfortunately, we can't do that for parents. The only one I've allowed it for is teachers. If a teacher is coaching a team, I might work around a teacher if they're involved in the school, but certainly not parent needs, and certainly not for ballet or soccer or any other activity a child has. They just need to choose what they're going to do. So I've got here that the time requests, if they can be in before we start playing. So I've put down there Friday the 21st of April, which is the last Friday of the school holidays. And there is a form which is online and you can find it on this page, and it's at the top of the page as well. So at the top of this page, I have got over here all the competition forms that you would use during the season. It's the time request form, and it is $20 per request. You can put in more than one request, and it's $20 per request for the entire season. It's not every week. It's just an admin fee because it actually takes us a bit of time to work out and put that into the system. And then when we do the draw, we've got to make sure that there aren't any clashes. Occasionally there might be a clash because you might be playing a team that also has a time request. So we can't guarantee you're always going to get your time request, but you can certainly make life easier for people if you do put one in. There's the school camps and production form. Whoops, don't need to go into it, but that's basically, so I need to know when, if your school is going to be away during the season because there's school camp or a production and you want earlier games, I can certainly try and help you with that if you need it. It's good to know in advance when those things are coming up because obviously the draw goes out and it's a bit hard to change the draw once it's done. We don't do deferments, which a deferment is if you cannot field a team on a certain night, you can try and do that game on a different night. It gets too hard because everyone's got too many commitments and no one can ever find a time that suits. So the first half of our year, the playing season is a grading part of the year. So we have about 7 grading games, which is a lot, but it's really good for the primary kids because they settle into the game, they learn the game, and they get better. And then by the time they've playing the competition round, which is the second half of the season, they know what they're doing. So in the grading games, I will just leave your team off the draw. If they can't make it that night because they're on a school camp, I'll just leave them off. The second part of the year, they just have to have a bye and unfortunately lose the points. If they've got a production and you just need an earlier game because the production's a bit later, we can arrange that if we can. But yeah, so if you can just let us know at any stage what's coming up in your school calendar that will affect a netball team, that is really handy to know. And the other one I've got there is an additional player form. So you register all your players at the beginning of the year and they go into a team and they stay in that team. But if you have a child that arrives at the school halfway through the school year and wants to play netball, they can certainly be added to a team at a later date. Or you've got a kid that said they didn't want to play netball and in true child fashion decides they want to play halfway through the year, then they can certainly sign up and join a team. So that's just an additional player form which you fill out during the season. Don't need to worry about that yet, but that's where you'll find it. I've also put all the dates up here on this website as well. So that's the entire dates for the school year. Sorry, these primary dates, and then you've got the ANZ Future Ferns dates, the Northcote Year 4, 5 and 6 dates, the Junior Netties dates, and the Hibiscus Coast dates. Basically, everything starts in term 2, not the first week, because that's Anzac week. We're pretty much kicking off the second week, which I think is about the 1st of May. And the Hibiscus Coast then kick off the week after that. So they start a week later. And the reason being is because I can't do draws for everyone straight off. So we sort of stagger the start a wee bit. We do not play King's birthday, Monday, and we do not play July school holidays, the weekends either side in the middle. And that's about it. And then pretty much in term 3, we kick off and we finish late August is the last dates. We've got Sabre Days set aside for, I think, the 30th of August is that last week of August, early September is the Sabre Day dates if we have to cancel any primary, which we did last year. So that's pretty much the season, but you can find all those dates on this website or on our other page about us. There's a calendar up there as well that has all our dates. Some of the other important dates that are coming up, the bigger one for you guys is the 31st of March is the date that we need to know how many teams you are entering into the competition. You do not need to know who is in the teams at that point. We just need to know how many teams you're going to enter. So it could be 1 year 6 team, 1 year 5 team, and 1 year 4 team. Friday the 21st of April is the deadline for time requests, so we can get those in before I start doing the draw. If you find partway through the season you need to put in a time request, that's absolutely fine. But if we can get most of them in there before the season kicks off, that would be helpful. And the 28th of April is the last day that I need the players kind of registered in the teams. Because yeah, we do have rules around who plays in what team. The teams are numbered at Netball North Harbour. They are not given names. The reason is that we have so many teams and it just helps us know where that team is and where they sit. So for a year 4 team, your team will be called, if you were Albany Primary, which is always first on the alphabet there. Albany Primary, if it's a year 4 team and they've only got 1 team, it'll be year 4/1, means it's 4, well, Albany 4-1 is the team number. And if they had a second team, it would be Albany 4-2. And that means that we know that that's the year 4 team and we know that the teams get seeded. And that's just so that, you know, we've had lots of questions over the years about grading and seeding teams, as you know, when the kids are so young. And it's really just to allow the teams to play similar ability, skilled children. You don't want a team that's going to get absolutely smashed each week because they're playing strong teams. And likewise, a strong team not having great games because they're playing kids that aren't quite so skilled as themselves. So that's why we seed them, and that's why we do the grading, so that they're kind of all more evenly matched. And that's why we number them, so we know which is the stronger team and which is the weaker team. The stronger team can borrow, any team 1 can borrow from any team 2 or any team 3, but a team 3 cannot borrow a player from team 1 for obvious reasons, because that team player could be quite strong and could make quite a difference in that team 3. However, we know that a lot of primary teams, you don't have enough teams to borrow up from and all the rest of it. So a year 6 team can borrow from a year 5 team, and a year 5 team can borrow from a year 4 team. We don't allow a year 6 team to borrow from a year 4 team. That's because it's 2 years difference in the age groups there. And that year 4 child will be on the court with a whole lot of the other year 6 players who could be a lot stronger, faster. And so for health and safety reasons, we say just 1 year difference, not 2. So a year 5 cannot borrow from a year 3 or get a year 3 player. However, there are exceptions. We're always, if you've got real issues or real problems, please just get in touch and we can work through it. So definitely a year 5 team cannot borrow from a year 6 team and have a year 6 player play in that team, because it will be found out. It always comes to the fore, and half the time it's the kids on the court that actually tell their opposition, I'm year 6, what year are you? And then all hell breaks loose. So yeah, so just be careful about that, and just, like I say, get in touch if you've got any issues around that. Now, if your 2 bottom teams have no one to, like your bottom team has no one to borrow from, you can put in a request and just email me and say, can the 2 bottom teams interchange players when they need an extra player? And we're happy to do that. But again, we just need to know so that we know what's going on. Any questions around that? No, all clear? Cool. Like I said, it's on here, I think, somewhere. Yeah, health and safety reasons on who you can borrow from. So yeah, just be careful of that. There's also some information here about the teams, the size, but also the equipment that they have. So obviously the younger kids play on lower hoops, and they have what we call a size 4 ball. It's a smaller ball than the size 5 ball, which is what adults would play with as well. So the year 6s play with size 5. Everybody else plays with a size 4. The year 1 and 2s, we do provide a match ball for them to play with because it's a bit less bouncy. But we don't provide practice balls anymore because we don't have enough. We've lost them all over the years, and so they all have different sort of sized hoops, except for the year 6s who go on to the big sized hoop. So so that's pretty much it in terms of the information you need to know and what you might need. Umpires is another big question. So year 4, year 5 and year 6, all teams need to provide an umpire, okay, for the game. So there's 2 umpires on each court. A question I get asked is, how much do umpires get paid? So a lot of primary school teams, it's the junior kids that tend to intermediate age children, year 6s, college school kids who tend to umpire at primary, and some parents. So we say $10 a game if you're looking at budget for paying umpires. We ask that you try and look around your netball community first to find these umpires. So school brothers and sisters, older brothers and sisters of your existing families may be keen to learn to umpire, as well as your local other schools, like your intermediates and colleges, because they often have a lot of kids that are keen to umpire and do the courses, and primary is a good place to start, because a lot of those college kids, if they're year 9, don't really want to be umpiring year 9 teams, so they like looking for the younger age group. We have a lady at Netball called Sharon Fraser at Netball North Harbour, and her email address is here on that page. She is the lady to go to if you are really, really stuck finding an umpire. So she runs a lot of courses, and she's got one starting up shortly for beginner junior umpire course for year 6 and year 7 students. So if you've got any year 6 or 7 year 6 students who are keen. And a lot of those kids from those courses, she runs in the school holidays as well, are looking for teams, and so she might be able to find an umpire for you. But yeah, she's the person to ask if you do get stuck. During the season, we don't really have a pool of umpires, but a lot of Sharon's umpires could be available to do the odd game if your umpire is sick, can't make it that night, or something happens and you need an umpire. Then you normally contact Sharon and she'll put you on the list, and we'll try and find you one on the night. But yeah, so if you can, just check your school community first before you come to us to see, if you need help finding one. And if you've got parents who want to umpire, that's perfectly fine. If they played netball quite a few years ago, perhaps just suggest to them that going on an umpiring course would be quite good, just to refresh their rules. Some of the rules have changed over the years, and we unfortunately do get situations where some parents think that they know more than the children who are umpiring, and actually it's the other way around. So yeah, just if you've got, definitely parents, get them on board, but yeah, just get them to do one of Sharon's umpiring courses, which you will find under this tab on our website as well, and umpiring courses, and there's the information there to register for those. Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much on that page, and some of the information you need to go to and look for and find. The other thing I was quickly going to, any questions on that? Anybody? No?
Hi Teresa, it's Lisa from Silverdale. I did put it in the chat, but I just wanted to ask if the lights have been fixed at Hibiscus Coast.
What? Oh no, we're trying to get them fixed, but it's a council issue, and I think the council might be busy doing a lot of other stuff now, but yeah, we're still working on that one. So we're still probably looking at having those earlier game times of 3:40 to get through before it gets too dark.
It's a real struggle to get from Silverdale to, I did 3:40 games last year, and actually it's a little bit unfair, because if you are playing Stanmore Bay, they've had all the warm-up time and you're struggling just to get all your kids like in their bibs and on the court. So I do understand though it's health and safety issue, because the lights, definitely are not great. So
no, and doesn't help when the council took them away as well, because it was a health and safety issue and they didn't tell us.
Yeah,
but we will. I will get an update from the boss on that one and find out where they're at with that. But I know we were applying for funding and trying to get all sorts of things happening with the council on that one. So I'll try and get an update for you all and find out what's happening there.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on any of that information? No, all good. Okay, so the other thing is, of course, is getting, once you know who's going to be playing netball for the 2023 season, we do have this registration process that we use, and we use a database called Sporty. Some of you have probably already used it last year. Some of you might be familiar with other sports at the school that you have Sporty for. But netball registrations are all done through Sporty. If you are new to the job and don't have a login, you need to contact Sporty directly, and their email is support@sportsground.co.nz, and you can get a login to access your the school back end of the system. This page, registrations 2023, we have a page here which is written for you guys as school coordinators and club coordinators, and basically it goes through, there's some videos here, videos here on the right, which I did. That one's basically how you access the Sporty form. and how you can set it up so you can have links to it on your own website and social media, or you can email it directly to your parents. You can also email all the parents that registered in the system in 2022 and send them the link to fill out the form for 2023. So it's different from our old system where once they were in the system, they rolled over. The Sporty works differently in that you have to fill out the form every year. So there's a couple of options, ways of doing that, and that information's all on this page here if you need to refer to it or just watch those little videos. That one basically is setting up the form and how to link it so you can send it out to your community. This one is just to monitor the players registering, see how many people are registering, and how you can delete a player if someone accidentally appears on your list because the parents filled in the wrong form, which does happen. And this one here is, this third video is how you set up your teams in Team Builder, and you enter them into the competition that you're going to play in, and then you put the players into the teams. So once the players are pretty much registered on the form that the parent does, you can just drag that player into the team that they're going to be playing in when you've decided what team those kids will be in. A new feature of the form this year, though, is when we'll go into a form. So this is this second page here under registrations 2023. If you click into that, these are all the clubs and schools that play at Netball North Harbour. So if I was to click in to poor old Albany again, if I was a parent and I clicked into that, that would take me to the Albany primary form, and away they go and fill out all the details. So it's remembering that parents should be putting in the first name of their child, not themselves, but we often sometimes get the parent's name in there. And but the new feature this year is if a parent has two children playing at the same school, they can add both kids into the same form now, so they don't have to do a separate form for each child. They can just add an extra player, but those children have to be at that school that they're playing at, both at the same school. So so that's one option that parents can use to register their children, is by going to this page, the club school list on our website. Because you can edit the form as well and do some stuff to it if you want to as well, and that's all described in that process page there. But that is another way that parents can access the school lists or the school registration form, and that's your page there that has all the information for you as a primary school coordinator. So I would recommend having a look at the videos here if you're not sure how to register or get that form set up on your website or whatever. But like I say, you can send it directly to them. And then like that 28th of April date is when you need to have all the players in the teams, and we're ready to go for the season. So is there any questions on that? No? If you have any problems with it, you're more than welcome to give us a yell. I can't guarantee I'll know all the answers, but the support at Sports Ground, they're the people that you need to go to if you do have any issues. To get into the back end of Sporty, you can go to our website and you go right down to the bottom of the page, and there's this little admin login here, and this is where you would log in to get into the back end of Sporty. It's all set up for me at the moment, so if I logged in, I'll just give you a quick look. This one takes us to the back end of our website straight away. But basically you go to this little dashboard up here on the left hand side of Sporty, click on that. I have a lot more stuff on my screen than you would, because I think you'll just have the website and the registrations, and this is the team builder. The team builder here is where you create your teams and add the players, and the form sits under this online registrations section. There's a lot of forms on here that I have. You won't have all these forms because these are the ones that we've created. But you're looking for the folder that says 2023, click into that. There's a sub form called Netball, and it's this Netball registration 2023 form that you're looking for. If you clicked directly straight into it like this, it would bring up all the players that have registered into your school to play netball for the year. This lady actually works at Sporty, so she set this one up. And if you found that there was a player there that's got nothing to do with your school and they've registered to the wrong school, you can just delete them over here. But because you can set the form up to do payments and all that sort of thing as well, but I'm not sure how your school systems work, but you can certainly do all that, and it tells you when they registered and all that sort of stuff. But if you go back and you want to edit that form, you just press this little pencil and you can go into the form and add any questions or whatever if you want to. If you want to link it to your website or get the link to send to your parents, you can just hit the little link on the right hand side, press the copy link, it's copied. You can now put that on your website, or you could put it out on your social media, or you could email it to your parents. So there's a number of options there on how you get your players registered. But that can come a bit later after you have worked out how many teams and where they're all going to go. Or just send it out to your parents now and say, register to play netball. Any questions on that? No? Good. Great. So, yeah, so that's pretty much it. I think I've covered everything. The only other thing that might pop up is I've already had a query. We often get players that can't get into a school team because their school doesn't field a netball team, or they could be homeschooled. I've had one query from a parent who lives up in the Hibiscus Coastway. So what I sort of tend to tell them to do is to contact a school closest to them and see if the school is willing to let a child who can't play at another school play in that school team. It's completely up to your school whether you allow that or not. Some schools, if they struggle to just take that off now. If they struggle to put a team together, they can combine a team from two schools. That's fine as well. We just, again, need to know about it and what's happening. So if you've got someone who's not at your school, a pupil or a registered student at your school, but wants to play netball for your school, just let us know. So we're aware of that as well. But yeah, we're certainly happy for that to happen if there are kids out there who really want to play, but unfortunately their school just doesn't support netball or can't get a team together. COVID shouldn't be a problem this year, so hopefully we get through without any issues there. But again, if kids are unwell, they should not be playing. Doesn't matter if it's COVID or the flu or whatever, they should be staying away. So again, that's a good reason to have extra players on a team, or you borrow from another team. Duty rosters. We do a duty roster system every year at Northcote only because we've got a lot of courts at Northcote in a very big building. So we ask parents from the schools and we sort of allocate you the school a day. And it's only one day during the whole season where we get some parents. It's usually just a couple of parents from the school, and they can tag each other and share the roster throughout the night. Just again, it's more of a health and safety thing, and they're mostly keeping an eye on other children running around the centre that are not supervised while parents are watching the netball games. So that's something we do ask for support from the school. So that's only on a Monday and a Wednesday at Northcote. We don't do it on a Saturday at Westlake. Defaults, if you have a team that needs to default, you just need to contact us at the centre before midday, we ask, so that we've got time to let the other team know. We have had a late default fee for the last few years because we didn't want teams ringing up at 3 o'clock to say that they weren't playing. And we had a couple of those last year, which is really unfair on the opposition because they could already be on their way or at the courts to play the game, and the other team decides they're going to default at the last minute. So you need to let your parents be aware they just can't pull out of the game at the last minute. They need to give you plenty of warning. And I don't mind parents contacting me directly to say that they're defaulting, but we do prefer that they go through the school so that you're aware what's going on, because you might be able to help them if it's due to kids being sick or whatever. But yeah, so we do prefer that we get it's something in writing. Phone calls are fine, but something in writing is good, because then we've got something to fall back on. And not to use social media to message us either. We've had that come through as well, and that's really hard to monitor. So yeah, so defaults are fine, but just please give us some time, like before midday, and email would be preferable. But a phone call's fine, but preferably, if I get an email or a phone call from a parent saying that a team's defaulting, I usually go back to the school and say, are you aware of this? Because you might not know, and you might actually have players that can help them out. We don't really cancel netball, so we don't really do cancellations. We have cancelled, I think we did cancel one night last year because the weather was so atrocious, and we will do that if it's atrocious like it has been lately. But we try not, because, well, there's no reason to cancel most nights if it's just rain, because it's just rain and we've got hard courts. Parents, at 10 o'clock in the morning, our phones go mad if it starts raining. They think that, is netball going to be on this afternoon? As you are aware, the weather can change. You know, it can be pouring in the morning, but actually be quite nice and sunny in the afternoon. So we are constantly monitoring. If there's a bit of a dodgy day, we constantly monitor all the weather stations to work out whether we're going to go ahead or not. If we were to cancel, we would make the call at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We're going to make it we have to make it earlier rather than later, so we can let everybody know what's going on. We would not cancel at 3 o'clock unless something severe like a tornado came through. But yeah, please ask your parents not to contact Netball North Harbour. If we were going to cancel, we would send an email out to all you guys. We would put it on Facebook and Instagram, all the social media, plus our website. We would have games cancelled. So we just ask, if you're not sure, to look at all the website, etc. First aid, we have first aid trainers on site, and at Northcote we've also got a very good first aid room. So, but we do ask that, again, parents keep children away sick. The other thing is, which can be an issue, is children with severe medical issues, diabetes or something like that. We don't, the medical people at the courts don't obviously carry epic pens or anything like that. So if you have a child that does have an issue with a medical problem, that your parents and the team management are aware of what that is, and that they always have something on hand to help if that child does have an issue at the courts. Can be asthma, you know, with the inhalers and stuff like that. Any child who has any issue, say starts having an asthma attack on the court, they've got to be taken off. They can't continue to play, because we have seen parents in the past rushing on, giving kids inhalers while the game's in progress. That's not allowed. But it's just making sure that those things are managed, and the parents who are with the kids at the courts are aware of all those sorts of issues. Anyone who goes to the first aid room, if they need further medical treatment, such as a trip to the first aid room or any ACC issues, they usually have to be accompanied by an adult if they're under the age of 16. But usually they are accompanied for the young ones. But yeah, it's just something to be aware of. There was something else I was going to mention. Dates. Some of the other dates that you also need to be aware of, which are on that website. I will just share the screen again. Go back to the Netball North Harbour page. If it goes there, go back, go back, go back, go back. So we'll just bring up the Netball North Harbour page again. Oh, that's our calendar. Don't want that. Hold on, just bear with. Just have to get the new tab going. Okay, we'll do it on this one. So I want that. How do I can't even get to my own page now. Let's try and get to the netball. Here we go. All right, Netball North Harbour. Some of the other dates you need to be aware of, which are on your page, are these ones, the primary information evenings. And I run these every year. And this year they're going to be on the 3rd and 5th of April. So these are for your coaches and your managers of the year 4, 5 and 6 teams.
Teresa, sorry,
yep.
We're still seeing your sporty page.
Oh, okay. Stop share, hold on, let's go share again, share screen. There we go, try that. Here we go. So the primary information evenings, year 4, 5 and 6, for these are for the coaches and the managers. Both of them don't have to attend, but one would be good. We'll be doing it online as well as having it at the Netball Centre in Northcote. So any Hibiscus people, if they don't want to travel, they can join online. They don't have to attend both days, just one day. But basically what I do is go through the coaches and the managers and just tell them how the competition runs. Like, you know, the first round is usually at 4 o'clock. We have 50-minute rounds, four minute quarters, etc., etc. So everyone's on the same page, and I'm not having to answer hundreds of questions from the same question from lots of parents. So those are on the 3rd and 5th of April. You do not have to register. They just need to turn up on the date that suits them. And I will put the Zoom information up if they want to join it via Zoom. We're also going to be running some informal practical coaching sessions. These are run by a lady called Michelle Wallace. I don't know if you've already met Michelle, but she does some great coaching sessions, and this is for the coaches if they want some help on how do I coach the kids. So we've got one on the 29th of March at Netball North Harbour, and I will send you more information about this, and it is on the calendar. And at Hibiscus Coast, we've got another one on the 3rd of May, at the beginning of term 2, at Edith Hopper Park. Okay, so those are for the coaches. That's a practical coaching one. And these information evenings are basically just how does the competition work? And they do get, we go through the rotations for the year 4 and 5 coaches. So it's really important that the year 4 and 5 coaches come along if they don't know how to do them, because there is a set way of doing the rotations. And we don't have arguments with parents when they think they're doing them right, but they're not. But they get a handout and some books to help them with all that sort of stuff. So it's a really good one for them to come along to. If they can't come to it, but they can do it by Zoom, they can pick up their books and stuff during the school holidays or on the first night of the competition. That's fine. The other one we do is the ANZ, that should say ANZ, Future Ferns. This is the year 1 to 3 teams and the modified game. And we run a coaches session at Northcote on the 1st of May. So that'll be for those younger teams. They start a little bit later than the older teams. So we'll be running a coaching session for those coaches on the 1st of May. So that's information you can give out to your coaches once you know who they are. So those are just some other dates to be aware of, which are on that page. And I think that is pretty much it. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know or just get in touch with me, and I can hopefully respond to your questions.
Teresa, I just have a quick question.
Yep.
The Hibiscus Coast, our year 3s are doing 5 versus 5. Do you have any information evenings for those parents that are new?
Yes.
And put their hand up to coach and manage on the Hibiscus Coast though? Have you got any information?
Yeah, so basically we don't do an information evening for the year 1 and 3. That coaches evening on the 1st of May is pretty much where we give them everything they need to know. For the Hibiscus Coast, they can go to the, if they want just some help with their coaching and what in terms of what they need to teach the kids, they can certainly go to the this one here. It does say for year 4 to 6, but they're more than welcome to attend that one, because if they can't be bothered coming all the way down to Northcote. But for the year 1 to 3, if you're close to Northcote, I recommend coming on the 1st of May, or the Hibiscus Coast ones. If they can make it on the 1st of May, that would be good too. So that 1st of May one, we do a bit about how the competition, and it's not really a competition for the year 1 to 3, it's just a program. There's no scores, no points, no nothing. They just go and play. But we sort of do a little bit of how it works, and then we go out and do some practical stuff so they can work out how to work with young children, coaching them skills, really.
Thank you.
Whereas these informal practical coaching sessions are more skill-based, and that's just, yeah, basically around about, all those questions that parents have when they don't, because the thing is too, when they turn up at the netball courts, there's so many people and it's quite crazy. So yeah, it's just useful to try and cover all that stuff at once rather than going around lots of different people. We will be sticking with our online scoring system that we introduced last year, so you can let your parents know that, and that's something we will cover at these evenings as well, and how that works if they've not used it before. It seemed to work okay. I think people got the hang of it eventually. It just takes a wee while for people to learn it, but it's an app that you download on your phone, and it's a live scoring app system. So yeah, we sort of cover all those sorts of things. So that's why I do recommend if definitely these information evenings, if you can send at least somebody along from each team so they know what's happening and where they're at. Yeah, any other questions? And it doesn't matter where they play, any year 4, 5 and 6, whether it's at Westlake, Hibiscus or Northcote. Very useful. Anything else? Any other questions?
I do have one very quick one, if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's good. Go for it.
So I've made a comment on the chat that says that when I log into my Sporty I'm the new coordinator, so I've never done this before, but when I go into use my new password to get onto the Sporty website, I have no tabs or anything, no registration, nothing on, no boxes to click on. All I've got is my school and my school's phone number. Am I being stupid that I can't see anything else?
So when you log in, do you go to the dashboard? Have you tried clicking on that dashboard, which brings up?
Yeah, so if I go into Sporty dashboard, I literally just get Cody Park School, principal, so-and-so, phone number, blah, 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 and that is all I have on my page.
Okay. Okay, so you didn't get what I looked at before?
No, nothing at all like that, no.
I would go back to Sporty first and just find out what access they've given you. I'm just wondering what, have they given you that back end access?
Okay.
Yeah.
Because literally all I've got is a school logo, the school name, our principal, and address and phone number.
Okay.
If I can jump in, I'm pretty sure you've got to scroll to the bottom of that page, and there's a little thing that you have to click that'll get you to the look that Teresa had.
So if I go to the admin login, and every time I click on it, it says I need to request access to edit this page.
Okay. Yeah.
So nothing else changes except for that.
Yeah, I would go to Sporty and just ask them about that one, because it sounds like maybe they haven't given you the full access you need.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I was going crazy. I'm like, surely I'm not doing anything wrong, but that makes me feel better.
and just to let you all know too, that Sporty is actually based in the Hawke's Bay, and so they were affected really badly with the flooding. I think they're back up and running at the moment, but of course they've still got staff and stuff that are dealing with things down there. So I think they're trying their best. They have been a little bit slow over the last few weeks getting back to people. So just be aware of that. I think they're pretty much back up and running now. But yeah.
Cool, thank you.
Okay, and so the other thing that probably you should be aware of too is our on our website, it's going to take me back, we publish the draws and the results up here on the website, and on the app with the scoring, the teams will get their game time and venue and everything as well on that as well. But you as a school coordinator can pull off, if you need to find out when your teams are playing, you can go to the draws and results and you can just filter out your school. And then you can find out when they are all playing. So that is sort of the information. I've still got the spring legs up there. I need to fix up the website. But so with the draws, with the grading, I try to get them out a week before the games. I cannot do the next week's games until I've got the results, because what happens is the teams get seeded from last year. Usually the year 5 placement is where we start, because obviously the year 5s move to year 6. And the year 4s are usually an unknown, so we tend to work off the year 5 kind of seedings or placements where they were last year. And then when they do their grading games, if they win, they tend to go up a grade, and if they lose, they tend to go down a grade. Over 6 or 7 weeks, we do this up and down, up and down. So I can't do the draw until I get the results, and then I try to do it the next day. It could be the day after that, depending on how the workload is. But yeah, we try and get them out at least a week or so before the next game. So yeah, the grading's a little bit tricky, because yeah, you've got to do it week by week, and parents are so keen to know what's happening 3 weeks in advance, but unfortunately I cannot tell them when they're going to play until I've done that draw. So the first rounds at Netball North Harbour are at 4 o'clock, and the last rounds on a Wednesday are at 6:30. The younger age group, year 5 and 6, play on a Wednesday. The younger age group tend to play first. The year 5s I tend to put on earlier, and the year 6s I tend to put on later. The same at Hibiscus Coast. The year 5s tend to go on earlier, and the year 6s tend to go on later. So the commitment for players is that they've got to be available between 4 and 6:30, 7, 7:15. At Northcote anyway. Year 4s on a Monday, they only have 2 rounds, a 4 o'clock and a 4:50 round. And the year 1 and 2 and 3s, they're usually playing 4 o'clock, 4:40 and 5:20 is the last round for year 1 and 2s, because they have a 40-minute round. And the year 4s, year 3s, I managed to get on at 4 o'clock last year, because we didn't have that many year 3 teams, so they all managed to play at 4. So yeah, just to let you know that the grading draws come out weekly, and then when we get to the competition round, I can then, because the teams go into a grade and they stay in that grade, and for the next 7 weeks or whatever it is, and I can get the whole draw out, the whole 7 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever it might be. Not in the first week, but I can certainly plow through it and get most of that out, so then they will know in advance when they will be playing, but they can't for the first half of the year if they have questions around that. There's no points for the grading. It's only really just making sure that they end up in a grade that suits them. And then there are points for the competition round, and the points, I will let you all know, but it's 4 for a 1, 0 for a loss, 2 for a draw, and 1 for a close loss. So if they lose within 3 goals, they get a point. And those results go up on the website as well, so everyone can keep track of where they're at if you have any queries on that. Yeah, so that's the draws and the results, but yes, we try and get them out as soon as we can. But some days or some weeks can be a bit harder than others. Oh, the other thing is we have tournaments running through the year. We have a pre-season tournament on the 30th of April, I think it is, after the school holidays. It's for year 4 and 5 and 6 only, and the teams do not have to enter through the school. The parents can enter a team independently from the school if they wish to get some pre-season games in. Got some very keen parents out there that love all these tournaments. We have a mid-season tournament as well in July, and then we have an end of season one in September. The other tournament that's quite popular and has to go through you guys as the school coordinators is the Year 6 Field Day. That's in June, and I think it's 21st or something this year. It's on a Wednesday, and it's open to all Year 6 teams only. And that's a great little tournament with round robins and then semi-finals and finals. Hibiscus Coast teams, it's open to any school. They don't have to be North Shore, but we don't play netball that night either. So Year 5 and 6 do not play that Wednesday night. And the Hibiscus teams, if they choose to play, they can be left off the draw, so they don't have to play that night as well. So that's something to be aware of as well. And I will send information out, obviously, as we get into the season and nearer that time. So anything else? Oh, we run umpiring courses. All the information's on this website here. So there's umpiring courses if you've got people keen. We have other programs throughout the year. We've got school holiday programs, which I do send out information to you guys to forward on to your community if you want to. We have after school programs. There is a representative program with not to do with primary, that's for older age groups, etc. But yeah, I will send all this stuff as it comes up throughout the year when you need to know. And we send it to you so that you can send it on to your, like I say, to your netball community, or stick it on your newsletter, school newsletters or whatever you think the parents might be interested in. So any other questions? I think we might be done. Yeah? Great. All right. So thank you for joining us tonight. And like I say, any questions, please feel free to get in touch with me. I think the chat was all good. I had a quick look before. Primary player instead of primary person, we could do. Right. Some of these questions are set up by Netball New Zealand on that form, so I can't actually change them, but we can certainly have a look, and any suggestions like that, I will have a look and see what we can do. All right. But thank you very much, everyone. Have a great evening, and we shall see some of you at the courts, maybe. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Teresa.
Teresa.
Thanks very much.
Thank you,
Bye.
Teresa.
Bye. Bye.